It is about 3 years ago. Approaching the Autumn Festival. The Harvest Festival, as they would call it here, near Shepherd's End. So that should place your characters around, I think, like the age of 14 or so. Two of you, Casey, Peach, you're in a wagon cart, being pulled by donkeys on the road. No, being pulled by llamas. On the road toward the Temple of the Maiden. You've got iron ingots in the back of the cart, along with some dried fish, and you're going to trade for some sweet potatoes and whatever's in season up there at the temple. It's a few days still until the festival, but preparations are already being made. Sleeping in the back of the cart, giving you a chance to steer the llamas. Let's say it's Lowry. It's the Furbolg bartender of the Furbolg apprentice bartender of the Dry Iron Pub. You can hear him snoring in the back, covered in a blanket. It's rising up and down with his belly as he breathes. You know it's time to... it's a 2-day journey to the temple, so you can't make it all in one day. It's probably time to set up camp soon.
Want to wake Lowry up so we can set up camp soon? Or should you get to drive for another hour and a half and we get worse lost?
I feel like we could cover a lot more ground before stopping. Maybe.
We want to make sure it's ground in the right direction, though.
Yeah, they're just walking really slow. I'm sure we could speed them up, maybe?
Go for it. I can say I said nothing at all.
I'm going to take the reins. Kind of stand
We're going to drive this llama cart like we stole it, Chris.
Oh, I see. Okay. You're going to try to speed up these llamas, make some extra time to shorten your trip to the temple?
Yeah. I mean, it'll cover multiple tasks. It'll cover more ground, tire the llamas out, wake Lowry up.
I don't have any problem with it at all.
What about you, Lowry? Hearing no objections, kind of jumps around, stands up between the two llamas, grabs the reins.
Peach kind of hunkers down and back where the seat is properly and like hangs on.
See how fast these guys can go.
Look at the reins.
Yeah.
Llama's ears perk up. Give a roll for how good you might be at this llama driving. 16 on the die, pretty good. The llamas take off in a run. The wagon starts to rattle. Picking up speed, Lowry. What's up? Hey. Whoa, what's going on?
The reddish flames of Casey's hair is whipping in the wind as he stands there, shirt flapping in the breeze. And he's like, just making up some time.
Yeah, Lowry starts to kind of puts his hands on the back of the cart and kind of looks over the front rail onto the road ahead of you. You presumably can see in the dark. Peach, for you, it's just darkness leaves.
I
and
can
things.
see in the dark. I'm a half elf.
Oh, you are half elf. You can see just fine. Yeah. The leaves and the brush whipping by on either side of you. The llamas galloping for all they're worth. Their little tails.
Furbolgs can't though. I'm sure Lowry's having a great time.
Yeah, Lars. Whoa, that's a little fast. That's a little fast, isn't it?
I think they can go faster though.
You know, I'm in agreement with you, Casey. I think they can go plenty fast. It looks clear to me up ahead. What about you?
Smooth sailing.
Yeah, don't worry, Lowry, we're good.
All right, we gotta push the llamas even harder. Give it another roll. All right, the llamas are picking up speed, but you're feeling the cart starting to sway pretty hard back and forth. It's not really been driven this fast, this often. You start to see a bend in the road coming up.
Turn. Which way does the bend go?
It's going right.
Turn.
Right turn. Everyone on the right side of the cart.
Oh! It moves over to that side. Alright, give it a... So, Peach, give us a roll of your character's
I have to
sense
roll
of
if I held on.
balance. Yeah.
I like get my character thing up.
Yeah, having turned over at least one or two carts in my 14 years, he knows which way they tip when you go around a turn, so he's trying to weight that side.
Okay, 12
All
on
the
die.
12.
It's pretty middling. Okay, in case you give it a roll. No advantage or disadvantage.
Yeah, he leans over, still standing, holding the reins of these llamas. Come on!
Ooh. It's a 6. Are you inspired? Do you want to use it?
Do I have an inspiration?
You haven't
Oh,
gotten
I'm
no-
inspired. Can I use mine for him?
No,
Don't crash your
no.
fucking cart.
You have not gotten a no one since the last one.
Yeah, so I used the last one in the knife fight with our caucus, so I'm not inspired.
All right. Well, the wagon starts to go around the bend, and really, you take the turn perfectly. Unfortunately, the wagon's not up for it. You hear a snap of that left wheel. The whole thing kind of sways and moves. You feel the kind of the ground give out from beneath you, the bench that you're sitting on. There's a drag, a rough rattling as the back of the cart drags through the earth. You hear the llamas bang, making llama noises. I don't even know what noises they make. You hear Lowry cry out.
Sounds like human screams.
Perfect. Lowry goes tumbling from the cart. There's a spray of ingots, and a barrel of dried fish rolls off into the brush. The wagon kind of skids to a stop, and there's a snap. One of the llamas goes running off, and the other one's still tied to the cart.
Has the cart come to a stop?
Yeah, so both Casey and Peach roll to see how well you hang on.
Yeah, Casey will probably like leap and roll from the.
Peach is inspired. She'll roll it again.
Let me turn off my air conditioner.
Sorry, I randomly rolled a d12 and I don't know why.
And got a 12.
Yeah, that's pretty
No,
impressive.
it's so bad. Can I use the roll I got from the d12?
Aw.
Get 14 and 12.
I don't have 14. I got a 2. I rolled a d12 by accident.
Nice. Okay. Well, neither of you die, but you kind of come back into not unconscious. You just find yourselves lying in the grass, surrounded in dried fish. One of the llamas has broken free and run off. Lowry kind of sits up. He's got leaves, twigs in his hair. Oh, what happened?
Blasted cart. Couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and you know, if the cart had been in a little better shape, probably could have made it, but it's an old cart.
We need to bring it back to Ez or something. We can get this thing rigged up so the next time we bring it up around this area, it'll take that curve real good. We just gotta improve.
Fish! Ingots! Lowry gets up and he starts collecting fish, stuffing back in the barrel.
Casey's kind of talking to, or excuse me, Peach is talking to Casey as she's like helping Lori pick up. I'm just saying, I'm saying you had good control over it. This could be something that you're good at. I mean, Shalati doesn't let you run any of her llama carts, does she? Seems like you got experience.
Shalati? No, she's always busy doing family stuff.
And I'm not pushing, just saying that she could probably use some help wrangling some llamas.
Casey kind of just shrugs and looks off where the llama ran away. I mean, we're already halfway to the place. Guess we gotta fix the cart up.
Oh yeah, no, this is where you intended to stop us, right? I mean, I fully thought that this was part of your plan.
Oh no, crashing the cart wasn't part of the plan.
No, not crashing the car, but we're here on time. All right, let's spin it a different way here. We're here earlier than anticipated. We made more progress during the first day than we were supposed to. And we've got time to regroup before we have to figure out what to do. We landed in a perfect spot. We really could not have landed in any other place. And we've got all of our supplies scattered around, easy to recollect.
And it's positive thinking. Lowry won't be much use in 20 minutes or so once it gets too dark.
Lowry picks up another fish. It's tossed in the barrel. Well, that's going to be a problem.
I mean,
We'll clean up.
We could start a fire.
Yeah, and it says, yeah, it's a good idea. So we better, let's camp here for the night. The rancher's house, a few miles back. I'll walk back that way. See about fixing the wagon. Two of you in the morning. Continue on foot up to the temple. Get all the arrangements made to pick up the supplies. And hopefully by the time you're just about there, I should be finished fixing the wagon. We don't want to leave them waiting.
Fair enough. I'll get a fire started.
I'll start picking up and looking for llamas.
Okay. So, Peach, you're going to right now go looking for the llama?
No, I'm picking up around. I'm not gonna leave the site until there's a fire and like a shelter place. I'm not wandering around the woods.
Yeah, so it doesn't take too long to pick up the dried fish and put them back in the barrel. But the cart's sort of at an angle, so it's not going to hold the ingots until it gets repaired anyway. But before too long, just there's not much pressure, and I think it won't be too difficult for you. Casey, you've got a little campfire going on the side of the road.
Yeah, Casey kind of walks around it. He's, barefoot, shirt open, kind of just looking up at the stars. There are stars right now, right?
Yes. 3 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, looking up at the stars, just kind of basking in the firelight.
Up ahead in the shell of the moon is an octahedron. Appeared 3 years ago, I believe, something like that.
So, what do you think's in there?
What do we call it? Do we have a word for it in our culture, Chris?
No, nothing official.
And they came back the same time the stars came back. Yep, Sam's pregnant. I don't know. Isn't it just another thing like the stars just came back same time as they did?
Yeah, let me kind of set the stage for that. I realize I should do. Yeah, it's currently 3 years in the past from the pleasant present where you're playing your characters. 3 years ish before that, inexplicably one night the stars returned to the sky, and in the sort of broken eggshell of the moon, an octahedron appeared, as though fitting into the place where the moon used to be. There's no real understanding of how or why or what it means. At first, there was a lot of intrigue, but as the days and months went on, no consequence. People moved on with their lives.
I mean, what do you think it is, Casey? Like, I used to think when, everything first came out that the moon had hatched like an egg. And there was something that broke free of it. But as far as I know, that squarish, angular thing is just a different shape. What do you think it is?
I mean, it's hard to say. It kind of looks like a ship, like an airship. Heard about those boats that fly through the sky.
But it doesn't move. It's just up there.
Maybe they don't have anywhere to be right now.
I don't know. I think thinking there's people up there is a far stretch.
Yeah.
You start to hear Lowry snoring. He's fallen asleep by the campfire.
Give me a visual on Casey here, Isaac. I know that you described what he's wearing, but is he emitting like a glow? Is he physically like does he have red hair blowing in the wind, or is it literally fire? Help me out here with the visual.
Yeah, so it's red hair that looks like fire. There's not like really embers or anything coming off of it, but it is kind of flowing in the wind as if it were fire. But he doesn't emit a glow.
I was wondering if he was like glowing like the fire was. I'm like, that would be interesting. That would be something Peach would comment on if she noticed her friend illuminated.
And Chris, have we been to the temple before? 14.
Yeah, have we? Do we even know Araya?
This is the first time. Araya has visited town, but this is the first time the two of you have gone to the temple.
Maybe we should not have drag raced the llamas there.
The llama
I mean, it's a better story than a boring ride to the temple.
I know, it's got to be about what's the better story. Honestly, because who wants to hear a boring story about, oh, and then we walked and we listened real good and we paid attention the whole time and followed directions as expected? No, that's not how plot happens. What do you
Who would
think, Case? Well, where do you want to go? Not to the whatever's in the broken moon, but now that we've got this adventure on our belts, where are you going to go? Where's your next adventure to?
I don't really know. Maybe jump in the train, taking that wherever it goes.
My mom's always going on about things she did before I was in the picture. I feel like if even half of that all is true, must be something incredible out there. Just want to see some of it, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more out there than our little town. Like the temple. I can't wait to see it.
I know we finally get to go, and we need to make sure that we got our cover story intact because I don't think Lowry's gonna. I don't think the real story of us choosing to drive too fast on purpose is actually one that we won't get in trouble for. Lost track of the cart? Bandits?
I mean, llamas are notoriously ornery.
Oh, of course they are. You know, it was the llamas the whole time. They were just not listening to you.
We probably should find that other one, though.
Yeah, because when they're lost and they get scared, they sound like a person screaming, and that's real terrifying. We venture off to find the llama.
And okay, so you stand up from the camp. You gonna head off looking for llama?
Yeah, presumably we brought some sort of feed for them or something like that.
Yeah, like grabbing llama, finding stuff like a llama lasso, things like that. Llama finding accoutrements.
Well, I don't know if you have any llama searching supplies, but you do have a bag of grain. Feed kind of in the back. Oats and grain.
And like a rope or harness that we can like grab the llama with, yes.
Well, the llama was still in its briding and stuff like that, right? So,
A lead for the llama. I don't want to have the llama eating my like shirt or clothes. Peach will make sure she finds something to this degree. And eventually she will come up with some kind of rope or, you know, small cordage, which might not work, but it will make her feel better.
And as they head out, okay, so it'll be neat to see where Araya lives.
Yeah, I guess I never gave much thought to it. She just lives up here with the rest of the priestess, shouldn't she? She doesn't have like it's all work all the time. It's worse than living at the pub.
I don't know. It'll be cool to kind of look around and see what they have there.
Yeah, for sure.
You, I think at first you're pretty easily able to follow the prints of the llama. But they pretty quickly start to head into the hills. And looks as though the llama's made its way up a pretty steep part of the foots of the mountain.
Llamas can't climb rocks like goats, can they?
I don't know. I don't have really a lot of experience with llamas or goats.
Do you remember its name? The llama? Lowry said it when we started.
Snowball, snow pelt, something like that. Bramble pelt. Some.
Casey will kind
The
of.
white one was snow something, and the brown one was brown something. They had really, really obvious names that now I cannot remember.
Back behind you, you can still kind of make out the campfire, kind of through the trees and brush, where you've moved away from it. It looks as though, looking around, you don't see the llama yet. And if you just had to guess sort of the winding path that might make sense up in those mountains, it's going to be quite the endeavor to take right in the middle of the night.
I mean, I guess we can look in the morning. It may come back around.
I mean, that would be the smart thing. And also, if we got hurt up here, it's not like Lowry could come get us till the morning anyway. I feel like we're pushing our luck with how well we can see and navigate.
Fair enough. I just one more trick up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Snowball! Snowball!
Shout in the mountains. You hear the echo of your voice.
Snowball! Are you sure his name was Snowball?
Peach is cracking up. No, I have no idea. You know, I did not ask the llama his name, and I did not listen to Lowry.
Well, hopefully it'll come back in the morning. Maybe it'll get hungry and knows we have food, so...
Yeah, and it'll come right to the screaming boy who screamed for it.
No response.
Well, let's get back and maybe get some rest. It's going to be a long day tomorrow.
Yes, I'm so sus of this because the last time there was a cute little we're just going camping thing, it was back in season 12, and that shit haunted Vanya for the rest of her goddamn life. I'm so frightened that this llama is going to become Peach's arch nemesis.
You know what they say. Never be
Snowball.
not afraid.
It was Snow Puff. That bitch didn't remember my name.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
before too long, you're able to get some sleep. Come the morning, Lowry's cooked a little bit of the, warmed up a little bit of the dried fish on the fire, had a little bit of breakfast, and Lowry's heading back the other way to get back to one of the ranches, where there'll probably be supplies to fix the wagon wheel. You don't have the supplies to do it here at the wagon. The two of you have been sent off to continue on, both searching for the llama and heading on to make arrangements at the temple.
Are we taking the other llama with us, or is Lowry taking?
No, Lowry's taken. Travel for the better of the day, but before too long, as you head along the mountains rising on your right, you begin to see the first stone archway of the temple. there once was a wall that likely surrounded this place, but long fallen. But it's been taken care of, like the stones are well kept, but the wall has not been rebuilt. So that's left behind pillars and partial walls that sort of surround the foot of this temple. But as you begin to approach, you can see kind of built into the side of the cliffs at a gentle grade. The temple built sort of into the stone. You can see the flowering of plants and gardens elevated up above you, and also farmlands that sprawl out at the base of the mountain. You can pick out figures. That are you pick out robed figures moving about in the fields. Some of them moving up the narrow, winding stairs that lead up to the springs and the temples, in the temple itself. You pick out the familiar figure of Araya. Looks like tending to her chores.
What kind of chores?
Are you guys in the fields and are like seeing the temple for the first time?
Yes, we're seeing the temple for the first time from a distance.
She is haunting the entrance gateway, the stone gateway to the temple with a broom in hand, brooming, God. Sweeping the same part, looking towards the road anxiously. As if she's doing chores, certainly, but it's very clean set of entrance steps. There's not a leaf in sight. There's no snow. There's nothing on them. They are polished nearly from the sweeping she's been doing, waiting for you.
Peach would start to wave as we get closer, but I don't know how far away we are. She wouldn't do it awkwardly early.
Like waving for a very long time as your little single llama cart makes its way.
Yeah, no cart, just the two of them.
Just the two of us walking.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
We crashed the cart.
Jeez.
We both look like we've fallen out of a cart in the past 24 hours, then slept on the ground.
She sort of grabs the broom in her hands and kind of like runs along the pathway that winds through the fields down toward you. Wait! Hi! You came!
Yes, we did.
Came so fast we crashed on the way.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, that was fine. No problem.
But weren't you, carrying important... Weren't there things in... Oh, my sisters, I don't know.
Oh, no. All the supplies are still fine. The cart's even still fine. It's just going to be slightly delayed. We're just here to tell you it's going to be slightly delayed. We're currently missing one of our llamas.
Oh, maybe, well... Did you crash close by? Maybe I can help. I mean, okay, so no, I still have to do scrubbing, and I still have more sweeping inside, and then...
No. Did you see any llamas come through the sanctuary area? You would have noticed a llama.
I have been watching the road since the sun was... No llamas yet, no. What does the llama look like?
Kind of like a llama.
His name is Snowball.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like
so a fluffy one?
Yes.
Like a longer neck than a goat, but shorter than a horse.
Peach and Casey, behind Araya on the trail leading down to where you are, you see a graceful robed figure approaching, dressed in robes similar to Araya's, but a little more ornate, more. There's a gold. I don't know if you'd call it a scarf, but there's an ornamentation to the robe that hangs down all the way almost to the ground.
Casey kind of nods his head at Araya towards the person approaching behind him.
She sort of spins around. Is it
You see
Saluis?
that there's a frost elven woman approaching. Deep blue skin, light blue hair, and pale eyes. She's walking with her hands clasped, slow steps. There's no haste in what she's doing. As she reaches all of you, there's a pleasant smile on her face, and she reaches out and touches Araya's shoulder. Says, "Oh, are these your friends?"
Oh, yes. This is Peach and this is Casey, and they came and the cart is missing a llama.
Just had a slight detour.
Everything is fine now. We've got Lowry from the. He's gone back down to get the repair supplies we need. We just needed to come and tell you we'll be half a day delayed.
Oh, that's no trouble at all. I'm sorry that the road was unkind to you, but the waters of the maiden welcome you today. Araya, please show your friends around and make sure that they're comfortable.
Of course. And she sort of does her bent at the waist bow to the high priestess, and still with the broom tucked in her. It's just like awkward. All elbows, all knees. Okay. So over here we cultivate some plants that work in the mountains. This you have farms in the town. Okay. No, we'll come to the temple. The temple's the best part. And she sort of like turns to you and then turns back around and heads up the pathway to the gate where she had been haunting to the temple.
So Araya leads you up narrow, sort of switchback stairs that begin to give you a perspective across the patchwork of fields around the base of the temple. It's much less farmland than you have at Shepherd's End, but it looks as though it's an array of farmland that would support the people, the priestesses here at the temple. You do see that there are some travelers this time of year, so some strangers to the temple in addition to the priestesses, and they're sort of down trading at the foot of the temple itself. As you make your way up, you're greeted first by, on your right, large gardens. You can see a natural spring of water trickling down from the mountain that's filling mineral-rich pools that are set there among the garden. The stairs widen out to a sort of a landing, a flat landing of shaped and cultivated stone, and then broader stairs that lead up to the main body of the temple itself. You can see one of the priestesses leading, looks like an elderly woman who's taking very small, careful steps. Looks a little, there's a strange pallor to her, leading her to one of the pools of the water and holding her hand and helping her kind of step down into the waters.
As they're heading back, so Casey says to Araya, So is that your mom?
Oh, no, that's the high priestess of the temple. That's Saluis. Well, she's been in charge since I've been here, and she's wonderful.
So she's like your boss. Yeah, like how my mom's also my boss. I got it.
But she's also, well, in charge of spiritual guidance and healing and keeping the temple pure, and yeah. There's so much. There's rituals, there's ceremonies, there's special things, and she has a lot. Yes, okay, yes, she's the boss. I see it now.
Is there any of
High
it all you
priestess
can?
sounds better.
Can you show us any of it? I don't want to get in trouble,
Oh,
but
yeah. Well, I mean, behold the the main fountain of the temple. This isn't the sacred waters, but this is from the springs inside the mountain, and it's really pretty. This is where we do a lot of our meditation and contemplation. The running water is actually very relaxing for that. And well, actually, I mean, okay, I like the mountain. You're not scared of like closed in spaces like caves or anything, right? No, yes, no.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because then I can show you the best parts. And she leads you to kind of the main entrance of the temple, but as it goes into the mountain, any of the light that has come through the like open, I can visualize this. Can I explain this? I don't know. But there's like tall windows and archways and all the stuff that allows light to filter into like the main part of the temple, but she quickly leads you past where a lot of the folks that might come to visit the temple will stop to say prayers or offer things, and there's pools and fountain. It's pretty, it's ornate, it's covered in like mosaic tiles and stuff, but she leads you straight past that into the dark, long and winding hallways deeper into the temple.
When you first make your way up the steps into the large main chamber, there's a large 15, 20 foot tall stone relief of it seems to be a graceful woman hooded with sort of outstretched and offering hands. You can see that there are a couple of maybe travelers that are sitting there kind of in front of the statue, and there are that main chamber, there are lots of candles burning, basins of water, some flowers. The colors and the hues looks as though they may have been kind of picked from the gardens, and all the snow and the leaves have been swept kind of from all the steps to keep them clean. Araya leads you past to those things and into some back hallways. As you're coming around the corner, though, who would be in the lead at this point?
I think I have, in nervous anticipation of friends, like am too fast walking as I take them through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you kind of go around one corner, there's an audible slap of like a wooden switch on Araya's arm. And there is a tall Harangan, yeah, priestess with tall ears and unkind eyes who glares at the group of you. She says, "Acolyte, what are these strangers doing so deep in the temple?"
And she bows at the waist to the priestess. They've come from the town, and Salu said that I could show them around, and I didn't want to.
Not think that Saluis had implied that she would take these visitors so deep into these halls, young acolyte.
I wasn't. No, I mean, I was going to show them the natural cave system that wasn't going to disturb any of the services that the priestesses are conducting right now. I didn't want to interrupt any of the guests just because we're younger.
They may see the caves, but you are responsible for both of these. They're not allowed in the sacred areas.
Oh, of course. Yes, priestess, yes.
She kind of gives each of you a long, discerning look. Kind of taps the switch against her palm a few times, looks back at Araya, and then moves down the hallway. Araya, you have like a stinging sort of pink mark on your arm.
She sort of tucks her arm more deep into her sleeve, and then turns back to Peach and Casey.
I mean, what's the point of sacred areas if you don't show them off?
No, Casey.
No,
That was-
Casey.
That was a coronet.
Like, if they're even half as cool as the places that we've already seen.
Well, but I mean,
Casey, you're going to get her in trouble.
well, I mean, I'm usually in trouble. But, no, I mean, the temple is beautiful and wonderful.
How are you usually in trouble, Araya?
I just have a lot to learn. That's all.
I am one of those hardworking girls I've ever seen in my life, but I digress. Where can we see?
Ooh. And so, there's like candlelit corridors, I imagine, and then there's not at all corridors. And she's still like with her broom in one hand, is like slowing her step a little bit as it is a lot darker the deeper you get into the mountain. But there's just like it stops being like clean and carved portions of stuff and more just like actual natural caves, and cold but quiet and still, and the rock is beautiful and marbled with different rock types and stuff, and it's just oh I should get a lantern. Can you see okay? Here, my room's just off to this side. I'll get a lantern real fast. Sorry.
I think all three of you have dark vision.
I know, but
Can we follow her? I'll follow you.
Yeah, I feel like Peach would have like, wait, I want to see your room.
What? So she takes you kind of like backtracking.
We've all turned around and are now going to your room with you.
I'm 14, so I don't say this, but we follow you without asking, is that one of the sacred spaces?
Oh, I mean, I'll just be a second, but my room is not. The room is just the place where your body rests. It is not where your soul or your spirit gain anything of value. My room doesn't have anything interesting, I promise. So she comes to like a very nondescript wooden door set into the side of the stone and opens it, leaves it open, but like hurries inside, and there's like a cot and more robes, and it just looks like fabric, folded nicely on a small like table desk thing next to the bed. And there's a lantern. Oh, I saved something for you. Here, what? And she like kind of like pulls from in the robes of the things that she's carrying, like a small satchel of like plain cloth, and it's 2 very nice apples, maybe a day or 2 older than they ought to be, but apples, nonetheless. A snack. Have you had breakfast? I've been up since dawn. I don't know about you. The town, you have breakfast so late. I assume it is now? It's morning time.
All right, you're so sweet. We had selfish, but I'll share an apple with you.
Okay. If you try to like follow, the room honestly is not fancy. Don't even. The temple is cool. The room is boring.
Your delivery of this character is so perfect because I'm imagining like the sort of girl I knew in high school who was like really embarrassed of her place, and it was like, no, it's so sweet. Like, look, I'm sure you have little details here, and like the way you hung that fabric so that it makes that sort of shape and those sort of shadows. And Peach would be going on about this.
Yeah. What does... Yeah, give us a description of what Maria's room looks like.
Well, it's an acolyte's room, and she's lucky that she has one all to herself, but it's not necessarily luck so much as the other acolytes think she's terrible, terrible luck. So, she has her own cot in the corner of the room with a bed, like a little bedside table. There's spare robes, small sandals. There's like the heavier coat for when it actually is cold. This little bit of snow is nothing. Not on these mountains. And it's not much. It's an austere lifestyle, so the room is reflective of that. Any sort of, I don't know, like, it's not that there isn't personal touch. Things are like folded nicely and arranged in a way. Maybe there's like dried flowers over in the corner, but it's there's not things. There's no pictures on the wall. It's rock. Yeah. She leaves the broom in the room, though. She's like, oh, I don't need this anymore. How long was I holding this for? Dumb. Okay, let's go.
The three of you are standing outside the room.
Wait, we brought you something.
What?
Casey reaches down to his one of his belts and pulls off a stein full with handle. Peach, you would recognize it as one of the steins from the Dry Iron Pub.
I don't think I would, because I don't go to the Dry Iron.
Then you would not recognize it as one of your own steins from the water. Distinct. Yeah, it's for drinking ale out of. Or
You?
whatever you want to drink out of.
Casey, do you drink ale?
Casey, where did you get that cup?
It's a gift for Hooray.
Oh.
It looks cool though. I mean, I thought
It's so nice.
you could put flowers in it if you wanted. I saw you.
Oh, they would stay alive a lot longer, wouldn't they? She sort of like holds it nervously, like standing in the doorway. Thank you for thinking of me. I am going to... She like slips into the room and lets the door like kind of close halfway behind her. And if you look, she is hiding it in the extra robes that she has so that no one can see it.
Casey doesn't look, but turns to Peach while she's doing that and says, I think she liked it.
What all was that about? Why bring an array of presents?
We were coming to visit. I thought it'd be nice.
You could have told me, though. I look like an asshole. I didn't bring nothing.
No, I said it was from both of us.
from both of us, and then you bring something I've never seen in my life from the pub that competes with my pub. Thanks so much, Casey. You're a real pal.
I mean, you could have brought one from your pub as well.
I didn't know we was bringing gifts.
It's just common courtesy.
Array hears these like hushed whispers dickering outside her door.
She hurries to them. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to keep you waiting.
But the caves go deeper. How
They
far?
do. So all of this mountain is actually riddled with natural springs and just beautiful formations within the natural stone. That's why the maiden chose to have her temple here, because of the natural waves and the earliest and she is walking you deeper again, but with the lantern out in front of her. And it's a lot more warm and pleasant with light, because the light reflects off the quality of the stone. It's a better presentation to have a lit way with warm lantern light. But
before you guys get too deep into the natural caves, when you're still leaving the area where it's the transition between the man-carved caves and the natural caves, there's a moment where you pass through an intersection. And let me have Casey and Peach roll a perception check.
We are all terrible at everything at 14, right?
Oh man. I still have to just roll a d20. I didn't set up my sheet yet.
We don't have character sheets yet. You're just doing the d20 and the d4 thing. Another 2.
A 2 again?
All right, I blossom later. 14-year-old Peach doesn't know anything.
Casey, as you guys are going through that intersection, you glance down to your left, long hallway. You can see that there's wooden door, large wooden door at the end of it, pretty heavy. You see that same priestess that had slapped Array on the arm. She's heading into the room. You see her as she's beginning to close the door. She doesn't seem to notice you. But inside that room, you can see that there's a shelf of scrolls and some books and things like that at a desk. And you can see mounted on the wall in the back of the room as a door swinging closed what looks to be 3 spears, like weapons, sort of displayed on the wall in that room. And the door closes.
Is that one of the sacred spaces?
Well, so we have many texts and relics to the maiden, and the high priestesses spend time there translating and sacred. There are more sacred spaces than that, like the water.
Something worth noting is that people don't carry around weapons. The only person you've ever seen with a sword is Sheriff Hain, and occasionally maybe like a sailor who comes into town. But there aren't guards who patrol the streets with weapons. People don't keep weapons in their homes, stuff like that. It's very, very rare that you see anything like that.
Do I actually know about the weapons? Because I know about the books. I spent so much time with books as an acolyte, but...
Well, this place that they're the place down that hallway is reserved for higher level priestesses. You're not allowed there.
Cool.
But there are other rooms with scrolls and tomes and stuff like that you have in it, of course.
Well, you have to be an actual priestess and not just an acolyte to be allowed to read those texts. to do. That's what that room is for. Is for the priestesses and the high priestesses and the, important people of the temple.
So, you can't go in there?
I wouldn't know.
But surely you have gone in there, right?
No. Did you saw that? Oh, fudge! What I can't pronounce her name.
Coronet.
Coronet went that way, and of all the priestesses, she likes me the least. It's better to leave her alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't go in there when she's in there, but... Yeah,
Well,
this place is so cool, I'm just surprised you haven't searched the entire possibilities.
There will come a time when I become a full priestess and I'm allowed to see the secrets and wonders that the temple and the maiden wishes for me. Until then, I serve in the small ways and with the other acolytes, and there's plenty of duties to keep me busy.
Yeah, Casey, just because you or I might have snuck around at night and gone through all the secret passageways and things, don't mean that Araya would. Araya's real good. She's not gonna get in trouble, especially, did you see that priestess? I mean, I wouldn't want to mess around with her. That sucks. But, if one's friends were to look into any secret places, you couldn't possibly get in trouble for anything that we might do. We don't know the rules of this place.
Oh, you're my responsibility here.
I mean, you're an acolyte. You can't be held responsible for the actions of two rogue agents in your. And Peach just kind of loses her own joke.
Yes, you definitely can.
Yeah. So,
She's joking. Don't worry, Araya. We're not gonna...
No, I'm joking, Araya. I'm so sorry.
Like she went pale, if you could
I
believe
wouldn't
it.
do this in the Wanderlust, and my mom ain't gonna hit me with a switch, okay? Don't. I'm just joking with you. Just trying to make you smile.
But I am gonna take you a place that the priestesses just don't go. Barely any of the priestesses like to come this way. I mean,
It's just gonna be a man's room.
we don't. Casey, there are even more places that you can't go at all. Unless you want to wear a skirt.
I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility.
And she turns around and starts walking down the cave path. There's a cool pool this way.
Lead the way.
Stalactites. She kind of gestures with her lantern up to the ceiling of the cave.
I just imagine, like, Peach and Casey teasing her, and then, look, stalactites! That's right.
I'm gonna be your tour guide with all of my knowledge of cave shit.
Yeah, when she yells stalactites, Casey kind of whispers to Peach. Is that like a religious curse word?
Peach just laughs like that. Like, it is a very loud, ringing laugh, because that legitimately made Kid laugh too. Is that a religious curse word?
Shh, it's. You have to be quiet. Your voice will echo in the caves.
God damn it, Casey.
Yeah, Casey's grinning and kind of looks back the way they came and make sure no one's running up on him. No, we'll be good.
Yes, and then where the stalactites meet the stalagmites here at the floor, and a lot of these get cleared away to make these pathways easier.
Yeah, because stalagmite, you might trip over that.
Definitely, I have. Or stub a toe. You are always softer than rock. Or banged your head, or your horn.
Before too long, Arrays led you kind of deep into these natural caves. Not in the way that they turned to go to the pools, but a section of caves where Array, not many people, like the other priestesses, don't seem to have any reason to go there. It's just a natural formation of water-carved tunnel. It's a very quiet place where you don't really get disturbed if you're back there.
So this is maybe like one of the shallower, like little pools of natural springs, but it's actually one of the hot ones that comes out of the mountain. So it's basically the size of a foot bath. So this is just, it's not healing water, it's not special water at all, but sometimes it's really nice in the winter time. And if your feet are cold, you can warm them here. Sometimes I just kind of sit here at night if I can't sleep, and it relaxes me. I get some of my best thought here.
You meditate back here, huh?
It's a lot quieter, and well, you can't really see as much, and you can't hear as much except the wind in the caves. It's nice though. I like it. I hope you like it too. Apples. But she takes a seat on the harder rock and kind of like sets her sandals, like little whatever temple slippers aside, and puts her feet in the water.
Peach would quickly follow suit.
It's hot.
She would carefully follow suit.
The water's hot.
Super hot.
How hot is the water for Peach's feet?
It depends on how cold you were coming up the mountain in the winterish weather. It's like a hot bath, but if you're
like
really cold, the hot bath would hurt like a mofo if you put.
Yes, I know.
Cold were your
I'm from
feet?
the frozen north. Not very cold. She wasn't expecting to hike most of the way, but I think by this point they've been inside for long enough that she's fine.
Then maybe this is nice after a hike.
Yeah, getting your boots and socks and things off. Put a foot in the water, and it's surprisingly hot, but not hot enough to scald your skin or anything like that.
Yeah, Casey kind of just sits up on one of the rocks nearby.
How was? No, wait. I already know how the trip was. You crashed a cart. Well, no, the llama crashed the cart, right?
It was, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Someone crashed a car was crashed.
Oh.
There's a good chance that we set a speed record, though. Well, you should have saw how fast we were going.
Oh, that is for sure. We were flying.
Never seen llamas move that fast before.
And uphill.
Oh my God, Casey, if it gets fixed, we should go downhill.
Ew.
Even faster.
How's the town? How's school?
Town's crazy right now. They're all getting ready for the harvest festival, Everybody's running every which way.
Yeah, I took this volunteer gig rather than have to bake 8 spice pies every half hour because we've got to have enough, etc., etc.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to smell like nutmeg for 48 hours.
Oh, nutmeg. She just sort of nods knowingly. They don't even have salt here. Austerity.
Fish are salty. Ones that we brought with us that will eventually come to you.
Ooh. Bountiful harvest indeed. No, we've been harvesting up here as well, getting ready for the deep winter. But it's all the root vegetables right now.
Ray, are you going to be stuck here when the snow falls proper? The deep winter, are you going to be able to navigate to and from?
Well, it doesn't get so bad. I mean, we have the winds that keep the snow from piling up too high.
See, then there's nothing to really worry about. As long as you can get to and from a place, you can get people in and out. You don't
Oh,
really
and we'll
need to
have
worry.
visitors. Yeah. Well, a lot less people decide to trek up into the top of a mountain temple in the winter time than they do in the summertime.
But I imagine the sledding is a blast.
Sledding?
Well, yeah, it's when you take a large bit of like bark from a tree.
Like a tray. A tray is good, like a metal tray.
Yeah, or a tray. And then you go up to the top of the hill and there's snow on it, obviously, and then there doesn't have to be snow, but and then you
There should be.
you sit on the tray or the bark and slide down.
Ooh, that must be far faster than taking a cart down the hill.
Yeah, you guys don't do sledding here.
Ooh,
I mean, the
well,
hills are.
it depends on the purpose of the activity.
More swift and therefore less time wasted moving from one place to another.
Well, but
The
there's a lot
funness of it being just a side effect.
Well, I will ask Saw Louise.
Don't pitch it as anything fun. Be like,
Oh.
hey, this is a way to be more efficient. Say,
Surefire
you know
way
what?
to get in trouble.
Surefire way to get things real quick from point A to point B. Think about like sliding a drink down the bar, right? It's always easier when it's wet.
Well, we do have snowshoes. We snowshoe. That's very fun.
Peach kind of looks to Casey and goes, that's like a girl saying water's got the best flavor.
Water does the. Have you tried the temple's water here? It's so clean. You'll feel that you settles the soul. Peach.
Yeah, go on, Peach. Take a sip.
Not this one. We put our feet in it.
I'm not gonna sip the hot foot water.
Water.
If Casey makes that joke in game, Peach would kind of like just shove him a little bit. So
No, he
enjoy
does.
being off balance.
Ice.
She shoves him.
Yeah, Casey still hasn't messed with the water at all. He's kind of just chilling on a rock.
Are you scared of water? I don't mean to be insensitive at all. We don't have any genasi here at the temple, but. Or do we? Can we, Chris? Is there like a water genasi hanging out?
Can one come out of this footbath right now, like moaning fucking Myrtle?
I think there probably are some genasi at the temple. I would think.
Like I think we talked about it. Where one visited, and because I was like, what would a water genasi think of the water? Because special water.
Well, they might not necessarily be water genasi, but genasi are not particularly rare.
No.
Not scared.
Scared of?
You-
No.
You just don't. Are you like a cat? You don't like to get wet? Because that's half the fun at the temple. I mean, actually, fun. There's bathing and spas and relaxing water-related rituals that everybody visiting the temple can come and participate in. Actually, fun. It's not fun, I promise. It's boring.
Jess, I want to do this in real life, though. This sounds
Oh,
so
yeah,
nice.
nope.
I want to go to this goddess retreat.
It's like a Korean
Like, it
spa.
sounds fucking awesome.
Me too.
It's a spa.
Onsen temple up in the mountains. 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all lovely. It's just yeah. So, I mean, why do people come here? Sure, they don't just come to bathe.
Well, so there's the sacred waters of the temple that can actually heal, and oftentimes people come here with lingering and chronic illnesses, or who have experienced some sort of hardship that has hurt their soul, and they need the solace of the waters here. And we attend to all sorts of people seeking comfort of the maiden and her healing presence. And the waters can do miraculous things here. I've seen all manner of wounds heal. It's why we're here. We tend to and maintain and preserve the water and help those that come here for healing.
See. What about you?
What?
Why did you come here?
Oh, I was brought here. I was brought here when I was a baby. They took me in. No, this is my home.
So you've been here your whole life.
Yeah.
You may not even really know this, but adoption is real common in ships. Why did somebody leave you at the temple instead of bringing you down into town?
Oh, I'm sure they had their reasons, and Saw Louise agreed. She thought, well, she sponsored me. She thought this was the best place for my immortal soul, that in service that I would have so much to offer.
You're immortal?
No, I mean my soul, your soul, the you inside the body.
And you can do service anywhere. I do service every day.
I find meaning in this.
Oh, I don't mean to criticize. I just didn't want you to feel like you were trapped in nothing.
No. Saw Luis has done wonders, honest. I think that there are many who would prefer that I wasn't here, and I choose to stay here.
You're always welcome with us too.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say too.
Oh, they're going to let me come and visit town more often. My duties are expanding to more deliveries. I have responsibilities. Not priestess
You should take class with us and things too. See if you can audit.
Well, I mean, I have heard you talk about classes, and some of those things are quite sacrilegious, and I don't know if the maiden would agree with that. I read a lot of books, though.
Yeah, they're not all that great, but there's a lot of other fun things to do in town. It's always a blast when you come around.
I do have fun when I come and visit. I get to stay up late. I don't have as many chores, except for the long trip, that most of the priestesses would just prefer not to take.
Can confirm, sometimes long trip is better than 2 days of chores.
Don't let them hear you say that. Or they won't offer you the long trip. You have to a little bit mention how hard it hurt your butt when you were sitting in the cart for so long, and
Look at you, Araya, being all
well,
deceptive.
it's
Telling
partially
half-truth.
true.
Partially true.
It is
What would the
partially
goddess think?
I'm serving her in a way that alleviates the time and effort from my high priestesses. They don't want to come to town. They have far more important things to do, and while the other acolytes are busy, learning these different priestess things, and they needed someone to go to town. I mean, well, I suppose if you're here. Oh, do you think you'll be staying the night here? You said the cart was delayed, and you're not going right back away.
Yeah, it really depends on Lowry when he gets back with the cart.
We'll definitely be spending the night somewhere because it's a 2-day drive here and back. I feel like you should look at Casey. I feel like Lowry will be a right fool not to just expect us to stay here, because even if he goes all the way to the machinist and gets the parts he needs, gets all the way back, he's going to need to camp there. So he'd expect us to be staying here.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Might not actually be accurate, but this is what Peach is saying to get what she wants. I saw Chris doing math, like, is that true?
Well, the temple often has visitors, so I imagine there's like a visitor's place for people
Oh,
to
absolutely.
visit.
And we left everything there. What if the sun goes down and we're halfway back to camp, Casey? We'd be in the woods alone. It wouldn't be safe.
No, I don't want you.
I think staying the night would be great.
I'll go. Ooh, let's go. Ooh, She sort of like dries her feet on her robes and puts her slippers back on. They dry fast. We can go and talk with the temple priestess. You will be like official travelers. Ooh, we could even do special meditation. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it says you're,
This possibly sounds horribly boring, I'm sure. It's meant to.
it says you're beginning to, you're talking with Peach, Casey, beginning to get your slippers back on, drying your feet. You can't help but something catches your eye, Araya, just past Casey, just past Peach. It's on the far wall behind them, where some of the lantern light is reaching the glistening stone.
Hmm.
There's something there. You've been here before. There's something there you hadn't noticed. It's almost it's part of the stone shape, arch-like. You realize it's a door.
She looks back to the pool that they're at, and it is the one that's close but hot, that no one comes to. and looks back up at the doorway and kind of takes a step forward to it and lifting her lantern. Do you guys... Was this here the whole time? Did I... Can you see this?
Can we see it?
Yeah, you look that way and I'll stare at it for a minute. You're not sure exactly what she's talking about. You can see that the shadows from the lantern are kind of falling on the wall in a strange way, but you're not sure what she's talking about.
No.
What do you mean? It's just...
Yep.
No, come closer. Come with me. And she like walks towards it.
Peach has been rolling 2s all night, so no way she noticed it on her own, but she would follow Araya closer to it, trying to look closer.
You guys move from the pole closer to the rear wall where shadows from the lantern are kind of moving on the curved stone. Some glints of natural filaments within the stone. And as you get close to the wall, you realize, it was just the way the shadows were falling in a strange way. There's nothing there.
Do I still see what I see?
No. As you get there, you realize, must have been a trick of the eyes.
She blushes and whoops, turns around and is like, I know this area really well. I thought I saw something different. You know how light from a flame will, sort of do that to your eyes. Nothing, I'm done. Let's go.
I'm kind of glad there's not a door down here. That would have been real creepy.
Oh, but there's tons of passageways deep into the mountain. They go on forever and ever. Some of them I haven't even found an end to. I just turn around because I'm late for chores. I took you to the close one, though. I wasn't about to make you go and creepy. It's creepy. It's creepy, I guess. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, if we're staying the night, I'm sure there'll be plenty of more time for exploration.
You want to go? For really?
Well, yeah, there's bound to be something cool back there.
Well, there's more pools of water.
Something cooler than the...
Cold water?
Yeah, Araya, I'm willing to go with you as much as you want to explore the place. I want to make sure, and she cuts eyes at Casey, that Araya is doing what Araya wants to do and not what she feels real pressured into doing. Because I don't want Araya to feel like her friends are getting her in trouble.
Well, right now, my duty is to show you around. So I actually should take you to at least make sure that you get one of the better cots to stay in. There's definitely a hierarchy of cots for the visitors, I promise.
Good. I'm not trying to be pushy either way. I just honestly I didn't like the way that Heron one looked at you. I didn't think she looked like she was nice.
She wishes I were a better priestess or acolyte,
I just want to make sure us being here, hanging out with you, doesn't make your day-to-day harder for you.
Sa Luis gave me the duty and responsibility for you, and no one can supersede her, so haha.
Fair enough.
In that case, lead the way.
Back the way we came. But she does, kind of we're going the same way that the cabin, you can't get lost. Not really. But she does kind of turn around and look behind us and like holds up her lantern back the way we came, just glancing back at that wall.
All right. If you would, I'd like you, Araya, to give us a little, and everyone can participate, a little montage of the rest of the day leading up to sunset. Of Araya showing you guys around the temple and all things you might do as you spend your day, the three of you together.
She is kind of like skip walking through, showing you the extremely boring everything. Temple life is all variations of the same thing of prayers and meditation. And if you're an outsider, you don't really notice the difference between, this one that's kind of yogic to this one that's just silent group standing in a pool of water at the main temple. Like they're all just variations of serenity. And neither of you are the serene people. And she's like,
Peach can
and
appreciate serenity. She would try. She would end up dancing to whatever like yogic chanting was happening, but she would attempt.
There's so many different, just honestly, variations of being wet and variations of being quiet that happen throughout your tour of the temple. And the really beautiful temple, like the main temple where visitors come, is like colored tiles of various rocks that don't seem to be straight from the rock of the mountain, and it's honestly beautiful. It is lovely and it's old. And I think there might have been one ceremony where you see some glowing water being brought out and put in the main pools that everybody is standing either in or around. And then there's the meal, and the dinner is, honest to goodness, the most bland and unleavened bread you have ever, and vegetables in a soup with no spices and no salt. Water that tastes, honestly, if you care, it does taste good and refreshing.
I cracked up. I don't know why I was expecting the food to be baller after everything's like so calm and peaceful, and the food is honestly terrible.
But you feel so good after having it. Like, it's the most amazing vegetable soup and unleavened bread you've ever had. But it's this is a lifestyle of minimalism. Anything and everything you ever offer Araya in town is probably the most intense. Like, you might have recalled such moments as Araya trying a fried potato for the first time and needing 3 glasses of water per fry to just handle how much salt was in it. And like any of the spiced pies, she like nibbles the crust and dares to have the filling and kind of just eats around the crust. Like, you just think she's a picky eater. She's overwhelmed. But no, the day like you have found and set up your cots, if you had brought like a backpack or something that would be set on top of those, and she might introduce you to different priestesses around the temple that are in charge of this and that, or whatnot. Yeah. You get a sense that this is the most exciting day she's had at the temple in years.
Nice.
And with that as a groundwork, you could fill in any blanks you please, because
Peach is gamely participating when she can and is appropriate. Like doing sitting meditation and stuff when Araya advises to. It's clear that she's trying to appreciate what Araya is showing them and like wants to see this perspective.
You guys are ready to show you something. On one side, you notice that Casey is no longer next to you guys. If you turn around, you see that he's standing on the opposite end of the room with one of the candles next to other people that are lighting candles, and he's just slowly lighting all the candles.
Honestly, Araya lets it happen. This is the first thing you've done that's like remotely, like holy. She's into it.
Yeah, if you
She like kind of clasps her hand. She's like, oh, Peach, look at Casey.
Casey's following the rules. That is a miracle.
I think he found rules he wanted to follow.
as Casey is there moving down the line, it's like, I can see the appeal of this.
At first, yeah, he's participating, and then you realize, he's lit a lot of candles. And you realize he's lit too many candles.
She sort of like, psst, wait, okay. And she kind of like scoots towards him. Casey, we need those to last all winter. Casey, every one in five. 1 in 5.
What 1 in 5? What does that mean? I'm only supposed to do.
She kind of like a couple candle like little flames out, like leaves like one for every few going. We light.
Oh, come on! I lit way more candles than that other guy. They were going so slow.
Oh, ooh. No, you did. You've lit a week's worth of candles. No, it's good. It's fine.
At one point, there's a priestess, an older priestess, who makes her way kind of over to Casey, and she reaches out and gently touches your arm and says, "I am so sorry for your loss." And she walks away.
Casey kind of puts his head down and says, I know, I almost had him. Right. What's next?
Okay. By the...
I actually need to be AFK for a couple minutes.
Okay, that's actually perfect. It's a good 5-minute break.
Cool, thank you.
Temple Life, the episode.
Usually I wouldn't mention, but I figure if I'm one of 4 people this session, I should let you know if I was going to disappear for a second.
Yeah.
So we're reverse scouting this place for when we eventually go there in the present.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're going to get the chance to ever go to the temple, depending on how the story goes from here, you know?
Yeah, maybe not.
This might be the only temple time that the game ever sees.
Yep.
Could be.
We'll see what the future holds. We don't even know if there's going to be train time.
That's true. Yeah, 5-minute break.
Me too.
Alright, recording. By the end of the day, the sun is the low, long shadows cast across the temple and the mountains. Say at this point, you guys have made it to the garden fountains, where waters are deeper, and they're these are available to visitors and travelers to sort of submerge yourself. It's very cold out, but the water's very hot. Araya, please describe like the tea and snacks that you guys have.
Ooh. So, Araya had stopped by the kitchens where a lot of the acolytes do the work. And there's a Haragon acolyte that snuck her some honey for our snack. And so she brings out like a plate of like hard cheese, crackers, honey, and then a tea that is very good for you. And you can tell. It just tastes like barley, like a barley tea. I actually love barley tea, but mixed results from anybody I serve it to.
I just realized I messed up. Coronet was supposed to be a tabaxi.
She's the cat.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna correct you in session.
Maybe she just said, you know what? Maybe Casey and Peach are just racist and they could tell the difference.
Well, she's wearing the robes. She had a cute animal face. You can't tell if she had kitty ears or bunny ears.
Pointy hats are popular.
I love pointy hats.
Chris, you described her specifically as having straight up big bunny ears. Peach is not a racist.
Yeah, but maybe they were inside the pointy hat.
She's a cat people.
We can just have that Peach said tabaxi.
Reason.
We'll just so say tabaxi with nothing going in or out of the sentence, and you can just burp over the Haragon earlier.
All right, ready? Tabaxi and Peach away. That tabaxi. Ugh, that sounded really racist.
Do it 3 more times.
That tabaxi. That tabaxi priestess. That tabaxi.
Tabaxi priestess is the winner.
I will definitely edit it, I promise.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad that we have these takes in here as well. With the framing of
I'm
me
so
saying I don't want
impressed.
it to sound racistly. So at least if everybody listened to the whole thing with context, as folks always do.
Let me fix my air conditioning.
You need air conditioning in Virginia?
I just turned a space heater off.
I think it's noise related.
No, I mean, I know, but I mean, I thought Virginia was a cold state.
Not today. Can be. Not today.
Virginia is in the south. South of Mason-Dixon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, small upstairs room with a lot of electronics going can get pretty toasty.
I
Yeah, it's
want
like-
an upstairs electronics room then.
It's like Virginia's the Starks, but then up Porcadas, they're the actual wildlings. And it's...
Poor Cadus is the actual wildlings, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you are in mineral waters that are the stones deep enough that when you sit it, like it could be up to your shoulders, depending on which portion you're in. In one of the other nearby pools, there are, one of them has like an old woman in it, another one has like some children who are trying really hard to be quiet, not fidget around, but they're kind of splashing a little bit. In one of the pools near you, there's what first looks like a human child. Then you realize pretty quickly, because I think at this you have plenty of context and experience as a halfling with a big big curly mane of red hair. She's submerged in the water enough to where like her nose is just barely above it. And you see her kind of looking back and forth. She doesn't look comfortable. Doesn't look like really come there. It's relaxing very much. But seems to be participating. The eyes are slitted in the way that like Yanti eyes can be, kind of serpentine or cat-like, slightly reflective and cold. But looking across the mountainside down into the farmlands, you can, from here, especially see the patchwork of different fields and small figures moving about as they tend to the fields, and some traders coming. Looking down from your perspective on the road, you can see, still some ways away, but approaching, the cart from Shepherd's End, Lowry, and one llama.
Yeah, Casey still would not be in the water.
You stink.
If Araya is in the water, Peach is in the water.
Araya has swimming robes, you know?
Peach
It's
is in
just
like
more robes.
is in like a towel wrap, like very anime at the spa, like
With the little head
little
towel.
robe. Yeah, little towel. Yeah. No, her hair is out in the humidity. Yeah, little towel.
Yeah, in case there's certainly there's rocks around in space and gardens and stuff for you to not be in the water, but more than likely it's so cold here that there's like kind of steam rising off of Casey a little bit.
Oh, Casey, that's cool.
Yeah, he breathes out a little bit and watches the cart crest over the hill. And says, "It's in this moment I realized we didn't find that other llama."
Oh, huh? Araya sort of sits up to like look where he's looking. Are there two or one llama?
I remember us looking for hours and hours and being unable to find dear Snowball.
I mean, we did try everything. So, what do these waters do, Araya?
These are so before you're meant to seek admittance for healing further in, unless your injury is quite critical, you find peace of mind and center yourself to accept all of the healing that the inner waters can provide you out here. This is to cleanse your mind and your soul so that you are primed and ready to receive the maiden's blessing. She sounds like that was rehearsed, more rehearsed than what I did.
Peach has her eyes closed and she's just nodding along with like the rhythm of Araya's cadence.
Most of the people here, well, and they might be here for themselves, or they might be here for somebody else who's receiving treatment right now.
You see one of the children splashes another one. You see the old woman in one of the other baths takes her cup of tea from the wooden pallet and brings it over and starts to sip it. You see the halfling with the strange eyes seems to crawl forth kind of out of the tub and grabs her cloak and starts to pull it around her. And she's large hands and feet. Have each of you roll a perception check.
Brace yourselves for another 2.
Got 2 from Peach. Literally.
No, not 2 from Peach.
7,
That's
so
Casey's 2 this time.
5 from Araya,
We all
2 from
sucked.
Casey.
I'm over here just like flipping a coin that has 2 on one side, 5 on the other.
Yeah, you notice just for a moment. Can't make it out. Happened too fast. The halfling has a strange mark on her forearm, but she pulls the cloak around herself and big bare feet slap against the stone. She starts to make her way down the steps away from the temple.
So, once you become an actual priestess, what sort of powers do you gain?
Well, most of the priestess here perform, healing rituals or lead the rituals for comforting the souls of visitors. I hope that the maiden smiles upon me and lends me her grace, but even the least capable of us will always be able to use the waters of healing for any visitor that comes to these temples.
So, what if one of the visitors, I don't know, wanders off for all. Did y'all just see that woman just up and leave? She didn't look like she was healed.
Well, you have to come here and make the choice to submit yourself to the Maiden's Grace. It's not something that we force on anyone. They come here of their own volition. They pay their respects sometimes and leave. She might just be back on her way. Chris, would I have known, like, did this visitor arrive today while my friends were arriving today, and then I'm distracted and I don't remember her, or was she here for a couple of days?
This feels like a plot hook slipping away.
You don't recognize this person. She must have arrived while you were busy.
Well, no one is forced to stay here or do anything that they wouldn't want to do while here. Some people come to see what we're even about. It's weird for a temple still to be here in Lux, and honestly, we do get some weird looks. But
yeah, I mean, healing is cool, but what about like super strength or flight?
Can
any of your priestesses fly?
We don't have any Ariok. Wait, what's the flying race? The bird race?
Aarakocra.
Aarakocra. We don't have any Aarakocra among our priestesses, though I wish we did, because think of how wonderful it would be to live here up in the mountain cliffs and be able to fly. No, that is not something that the maiden grants us.
Can you move objects with your mind? Will you be able to do that?
You know, the mysteries of the maiden are granted to priestesses, and I'm just an acolyte.
So maybe.
There are mysteries, many to behold in these sacred areas.
Maybe in those books?
I've read so many of the books here. They just talk about more ways to not eat food and to temper your mind for the hardship of the world, to better purify your soul. Like, I don't think that there are... Well, no, I don't know. I don't know, Casey. That's for me in 4 years to know.
So this skill you're working on now is like fortitude.
Well, there's a constitution of spirit and your body and your mind all working together that makes you like the temple here. And she sort of like gestures back to the beautiful temple. You need to concentrate on making your body the perfect place for the maiden to put her holy wonder and strength and faith. We need our faith to be strong, and a clean mind and a clean body is required. Yes.
And like control of your fear, right?
Well, control of every unnecessary emotion, really.
And your meditations help with that.
It does, actually. It really does.
Yeah,
you don't feel fear or hate, or all of these very surface things fall away, and you can just feel kind of peace and wonder.
Yeah, Casey leans in and seems more engaged and intrigued upon hearing about this aspect of it. Yeah, so you have to show me some of these meditations.
Ooh, here's my favorite. Now, sit with your legs crossed like this, and she's like on like a little stone ledge under the water, and you can do it on top of the water. But and she just shows you like a posture and holding yourself quite uncomfortably and breathing exercises. And if you stop before she stops, she won't have noticed because she'll carry on for like a boring, silent 5 minutes.
Yeah, he'll do it as well and keep opening his eye to looking over at Araya to see if she's still doing it, and if it looks like she is, then he'll close his eye and go back to doing it.
Like uncomfortably long.
His posture slowly gets worse and worse. You've realized he's fallen asleep.
She sort of comes out of it and looks over at him and is, don't you feel refreshed? Is he just like...
Yeah, he's out.
She looks over at Peach. You should stop doing that. You're meant to have a very fun visit here. It's just we don't do any... We do lots of things, but we don't do things that other people would find.
I'm having a wonderful time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
This is the most relaxing thing I've done in weeks and weeks. And being off my feet, no longer running around getting ready for the Autumn Festival, that is a treat and a half. I'm not about to fall asleep through it. But I think that just means Casey's relaxing too. I think this is great. Anything else that's healing for the mind. Healing on the nerves.
Do you know why he doesn't want to get in the water? I mean, that's the whole point of the temple, is the water.
I mean, I don't know very much about Casey at all. I kind of find it's best to let folks open up to you when they're ready to. And I've known him for years now and know very little. But I know that water steams off when it's raining, and he doesn't go out when it rains. And so I think maybe it, I don't know, I imagine it's like me going out in the sun with fair skin, right? Could do it, but it sucks. And I'm going to avoid it if I can, because I don't want to get burnt. I feel like it's probably like that with Casey, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he probably doesn't want to get wet because it doesn't feel good. But I also never asked him.
But you're very astute to others. So
Thanks.
I think that makes sense. I won't pressure him. The fact that he's here at all and at the temple with all the water that we're doing, and that, I guess that, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's so nice.
It's not the sort of thing where if Ez were here and Ez were sitting on that rock, I'd shove him in the water. That would be very funny. I would not do that to Casey. Does that make sense?
I don't think I've ever shoved anybody into the water before. I think that'd be very funny. We need to convince Ez to come to the temple sometime.
I feel like
Just
cut to Araya shoving all of the priestesses over the next week and a half.
Well, I'm trying to think of like a situation where she could without it being like an asshole move. Find out next time the trouble Araya wrought the one week she had a whole bunch of bad ideas.
Conveniently also the week that Casey and Peach met her when visited her.
I was told it would be funny. I'm so sorry. Yes, I know those aren't your swimming robes. I'm so sorry. Dumb. So dumb.
14-year-old Araya with her little demon horse just sneaking up behind priestesses and shoving them into the water.
Oh no.
These like stoic meditating columns with their eyes closed and suddenly
Shh.
It's about this time that you see that the cart is approaching the archway.
Should we go and
How
help
long
him?
has it been? Have we been overnight, or is Peach like vastly wrong about time?
Pass around.
It was the half day that he promised. Aw. That doesn't mean you have to go or anything, right?
I mean, it depends. I don't think. I know I should stop talking when I don't actually know. Let's ask Lowry.
Oh, but you need your clothes. Oh, here, let me help. We'll be right back, Casey.
Upon hearing
Girls
his
getting
name,
changed montage.
We'll be right back, but Lori's here.
he sees them run off and looks around and sees that Lowry's there and goes over to meet up with him.
Yeah, before, we'll say before too long, you've dressed, made your way down to where Lowry's parked the cart sort of at the base of the stairs there. He waves at you with a big hand as you approach. Oh, you made it. All the preparations made, supplies ready to go?
You know, I thought we had more time. To be perfectly honest, Lowry.
Oh.
Kind of thought we might be spending that, and so I just stalled for time, and I wasn't really listening. I'm real sorry. We can get the supplies now, though. And hey, they said we could stay overnight, so there's no reason really why we need to rush. In fact, we just got an evening at the spa, basically. There's a whole section for boys and things.
Oh, well, I hope...
Right? Be nice and relaxing. When was the last time you got off your feet?
Well, I hope you've enjoyed your time, but, nope, we'll have to be on our way. No time for dilly-dallying. We, gotta make up lost time. So I'll start with the supplies and grab what you can. And you, Array, you see, she's not there yet, but you see Saloise kind of making her way toward the group of you. And Lowry moves off to start getting supplies ready, leaving the three of you alone.
Oh. Well, okay, so next time, the sunrise at the temple is really nice. And we have even more sun salutations, sort of meditations. It's more of the same, except with light.
We're not gone yet, and I'm pretty sure I caught a glimpse of the missing llama right near here.
Wait, really?
We should probably dedicate some time to looking for him.
You know, that's an excellent idea. Yeah, I thought I heard one of those weird screaming llama sounds just at the edge there.
Oh, I should see if I could help. Saloise would understand. It's important.
And you see Saloise begins to approach.
Araya will kind of hurry over to her, and she's honestly gullible. Yep. High Priestess, my friends thought that they saw the missing llama from their vantage point up here at the temple, and we're hoping... Do you think I could help them go look? The cavern driver... Caravan the caravan drivers arrived?
Oh, your friends have lost their llama.
Well, one of two.
Oh, that's dreadful. Well, if you're able to find it, that would be wonderful. I'm sure they'd be most appreciative. However, I'm sad to say I have a chore for you already.
Oh, of course, anything.
Yes, it seems I have a very important missive I need delivered to Shepherd's End. Rather than just sending it with the card, I think it would be best if one of the acolytes of the temple delivered it. And you'll need to need to wait for a response and bring it back right away. So, unfortunately, that means you will be spending the entire Harvest Festival there in Shepherd's End. I hope it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Oh, no, it sounds very important, and, yes. Oh, thank you, Soloise.
Well, we all do what we must to serve the maiden. And she hands you an envelope.
Right away. She, spins and turns around. Guess what?
You can ride with us.
You get to
have
spend the
very
whole
good-
harvest. Yeah.
I've never been. Ooh, what is it exactly? There's pie?
Oh, right. Oh, you should stay. You should stay at the Wanderlust. You can even stay. You can even bunk with me if you want. If you don't want to stay for Ava, if you've got some acolyte things there. But oh my God, the food that we've got there we've got autumnal spices, and it is. Oh, girl. It just starts to sort of pull Araya along, excited.
Let me go get my things. It's really fast for me to pack. I'll be right back. But what about the llama?
We'll have a look around.
Oh, smart. Okay. She hurries back inside.
Casey, did you actually see any llama?
No, I just thought it would be nice to stay the night.
Yeah,
But-
me too. All right.
But this is good too. It'll be cool to ride back with her.
Just as good. We get to spend more time with Araya. And she gets to spend more time with, I don't want to sound rude or nothing, but normal kids. And normal people and folks who ain't strict about every second of her life.
I don't know. She seems to be doing all right here.
That's true. That said, Louise seems like a pretty good mom, boss, person thing.
All right. Just to make sure we can get through some things today, I'm going to montage you guys a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Though you search so thoroughly, no sign of the llama. Before too long, supplies have been unloaded from the cart, and sweet potatoes, cabbages, carrots loaded onto the cart from the temple's supplies. You make the journey back to Shepherd's End, spending the night by campfire under the stars and the Octurne, and the deep approaching autumn. But before too long, you have made it to Shepherd's End. And the Harvest Festival is all coming together. The town is decorated. You can see there are farm animals wandering about, decorated for the competition. Small children running about, playing. You can see that the variety of different games and activities are being set up. There are large tables just out in the open with breads, fruits, and big casks of ale. As you move through the town, you hear the sound of harp music playing, and you see Shirley and Salinger's father sitting together. Some people gathered around watching. You can see where Ava's parents, Basil and Sage, arranging flowers that are on display kind of near the hearth. You can see Ava's younger sister, Lily, brushing out her hair as she sits on the stones nearby, having decorated herself with some of the flowers. You see Tick and Talk, Esmond's twin sisters, running through the streets. You see Kabeth's older brother, Relin, running along the field in a foot race with some of the other children his age. They're all a bit older than each of you. There's a stage kind of set up. You see Casey's uncle, Topus, and Casey's mother, Talsima, making preparations for the puppet show. Miranda Pine is delivering a fresh tray, spiced pies, come to one of the nearby tables. You see a variety of bunnies hopping around in the background, causing trouble. One of them trying to climb up onto a roof. You see the menagerie of Shalati's family, Minotaur and satyrs, Yonti, browsing the markets, stocking one of the carts, or one of the stalls with fresh wool, and delivering meat to one of the butchers. You see the teacher Gilgain instructing some of the younger kids about one of the games there's there to play. You see Sheriff Hain, hand on his hips, surveying, making sure no one's getting in trouble. Kind of see him looking, eyes linger on Casey for a little while. You see Parcel Officer Simon giving Kabeth some instructions before she was dashing off, armful of packages. You see the physician Teredian kneel down, tending to the scraped knee of one of the kids. The mayor, Wendleton, big round belly, smile on his face, big curly mustache, overlooking the town, proud of the festival of flowers. You see the rough guts, the dwarves, looking grumpy, mugs of on their hand, a couple of drinks. You see Graham looks across the crowd, gives a little nod to Salinger. There are a variety of games that are set up for different ages of the children. It looks like a lot of them are beginning to begin soon, but there's only a few that kids your age are able to participate in if you want to.
Yes.
We
Games of chance.
Oh my god,
Games
yes,
of
carnival
skill.
games. Carnival games. Went to the spa, now we have carnival games. This is
Take me to the bobbing for apples.
There's rock toss. There's the sack relay team race.
Ooh.
Three contestants can enter as a team. There's the sheep riding competition. There's the pie eating contest.
I would fail. Not for lack of hunger, but from just overwhelming surprise at sugar and spice.
do we choose one?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. What, do you have an idea, Isaac?
Sack race, sack race. Sack race.
Clearly sack race, but I think
Casey would be down for the sack race, yeah.
Yes, yes. Is it all of at once or a team?
relay.
No, you can participate in up to, those are the 4 contests available to children your age. So you can participate in all or one or none of them, depending on what your preferences are. There's also a wide array of food to eat. They've got a non-alcoholic cider for
Ooh. More than water.
yeah, but you see, you say first, you see Imav, Salinger's father. He's got a couple of large rocks. He's sort of testing the weight of them and glances over your way. And he says, how you feeling about testing your luck? See what kind of arms you got on you.
Luck or strength? Because I don't think you're gonna magically hand me the lightest rock, or you should hand me the lightest rock.
Well, maybe you could try one of these smaller hit rocks.
Yes. She like tests out each individual rock to see which one is like least pokey.
Yeah, you find yourself a nice, comfortable rock, and he says, "What about the two of you there, Casey, Peach? You feel like tossing rocks?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw a rock.
What's the rock technique? I mean, is it like between your legs and kind of hoop, or
You can
like a twisty?
Well, you can throw whatever technique you feel is best to win the competition, but there's a simple rule. You see there that big slab of stone? Your rock's got to bounce off that, and then it gets close as it possibly can to the center of that red circle.
What? Okay.
If you don't hit the slab of stone, it doesn't count. So, and you only get the one throw.
What if the rock breaks?
Well, that's where the luck part comes in.
Oh, I get it now.
Now, you don't want to throw it too soft, but you don't want to throw it too hard either, or you might break your rock.
Yeah, Ray, you don't want to skip from that stone. You don't want to skip that stone. You want to skip off that stone.
Yes. Wait, what?
And if you do it wrong, there are absolutely no consequence whatsoever. So just remember that.
That's nice. Games are nice. Games are nice. You first.
But if you win, you get the glory of victory. Casey heaves his rock towards the rock that he has to skip it off.
All right, so you're gonna roll a d20, and let me ask you this: how do you think Casey's pretty good at rock throwing and stone skipping?
Yeah, I think he's skipped his fair share of stones across water and into holes and stuff like that.
Okay, so when you roll your d4, in addition to your d20, you can choose to add or subtract the number from your roll. In order to not miss the stone and not break your own stone, you have to get between an 8 and a 12.
Do I have to decide whether I'm skipping or adding, subtracting beforehand?
No, after you see it.
Okay. Well. Yes.
Yeah, you guys see Casey give a throw. This rock goes sailing in the air, but it lands just short of hitting the slab. Just hits in the grass. Doesn't make it. Oh, and Mom says, now that was mighty close. Well, we'll give Peach here a try.
Casey, I expected you have so many muscles. Like it that makes no sense.
I know, it's so strange with the way Casey's shirt can't stay closed, how he was unable to do this feat of strength.
Do you think it's the shirt that got in the way?
Well, he did pick the biggest rock. I mean, that's a strategic choice.
Oh.
Peach would find a rock that is roughly the size of her palm and reasonably flat. She's looking for a good, skipping stone-sized stone.
Well, that's a pretty good rock right there. Why don't you try that one?
Yeah, if Fez was here, maybe winds would have blown in my favor.
S helps you cheat.
Cheat? No. Could you suggest such a thing?
What? No, but wins. I mean, I thought. Oh, shoot. I didn't say anything.
All right, I have to throw my rock. Peach is aiming to keep it level and trying to ricochet off of the black stone in the middle without gaining much height. So she's trying to do this as a dex thing.
So that's good. Give it a roll. It's a 12 on the die.
Ooh.
Can I just leave it there, or do I have to do the 4? Because 4 is the game.
You do need to roll the d4. But you can choose to add or subtract.
I will subtract 3 from my 12 to make it a 9.
Ooh, giving you a 9 in the range that you need. Peach throws the stone, bing, bounces right off and lands in the red circle. So far, the leader of the game.
That was a great tactic.
Thanks. I didn't put too much thought behind it. It is just a game.
Mm-mm. Well, I picked a round one. It's like round and soft and round. It's like maybe a river rock that's
And
kind of tumbled a
soft?
bit. Well, like
There's
smooth.
soft rock?
Sorry, smooth. She found a cheese.
You're cheating.
Araya picks up one of the small bunnies.
This bounces great.
As you kind of hold the rock and toss it up and down, you realize you would have to get a 10 to beat Peach's score, or get a 9 to tie.
Oh, okay.
A 9 or 11 would tie.
So she is going to, like granny throw it through her skirts towards the bouncing rock. She's just like a huh.
6 on the die, plus a 1. You give it a throw, but sails through the air too high of an arc. Thump, hits the grass.
It like buries into the ground a bit, just like boom.
The mob says, "Wow, look at that. Looks like our very own Peach is the winner of this here rock throwing competition. Your prize," reaches and takes out what looks to be a really nice, smooth river stone that's been probably painted by some of the children.
Aww.
He offers that here. He says, "Now I've seen a lot of throwing stones in my day, and this here's one of the best throwing stones you're ever gonna find."
And this is my prize. Peach would like very graciously accept and then put it in the pocket of her apron.
Nice job. Let's see. I think I want to keep you kids here. The sack relay race, the sheep riding competition, the pie eating contest, those are all coming up soon. Better go get ready if you're doing any of those.
Sack relay! I'm really good at walking with things tangled up around my feet.
Bizarrely specific.
I mean, I was thinking I don't throw rocks, but I do wear wet robes all the time. I think I could do this one, is what I'm saying. Believe in me.
Let's do it. We can all 3 of us try. Why not?
Alright, so you guys make your way over to the sack relay race. And you find that it's Basil Porter, Ava's father, who's overseeing this race here. It says, "Okay, children, you're all participating in the race. Have you picked your team? Is it the three of you, Peach? Young lady, and
It's me and Casey, and this is Araya.
okay, wonderful.
Hi.
It's nice to meet you. Well, you'll
This is Ava's dad, Dr. Basil.
Oh,
you're friends with Ava.
I know.
Or not
Ava,
Dr.
yeah.
Basil. I was getting him confused with Coridian.
Well, it's nice to meet you. Here, you'll each need a potato sack. Now you've got to put both of your feet here in the potato sack, and one of you, you'll make your way around these obstacles. One of you one of you will be the first person to go, and you'll be running with the pack. You want to be able to break away from them, and then you'll have to hand off to one of your teammates in order to make their way around. And on that one you have to go twice. It takes a little bit more endurance. And then the third one, well, that can, from what I've seen, can get a little competitive. You want someone who can kind of muscle their way through the crowd.
Immediately looks at Casey.
So you want first speed, then endurance. After that, conviction.
So I'll go first, and Araya,
Okay.
Unless you'd rather go first. I think I'm faster than I am long lasting, though.
I can hold ridiculous poses for hours. I think I can. Yes. I just don't think I could shove anybody. Sorry.
Fair enough.
All right. Who's going to go first?
Me.
All right. On your marker. You've got your sack around your feet. Make sure you've got a good grip on it. On your mark. Get set. Hop!
She hops.
Yeah, let me get hopping. I'm going to roll for some of the other people you're racing against. Alright, looks like they're getting a 3, 11, and a 7. You need to roll a d20, and if you're pretty good at this kind of thing, you can potentially add a d4 to a d6.
Yikes. Not so fast.
Yeah, it looks as though as all the kids start hopping out from the block, Peach is in 3rd place as the big circle. You see relayers happen in their sacks. Tag. It's time for Peach to switch off with Casey. Or is there
Ava's next. Or not Ava, excuse me. Araya.
Okay.
Yeah,
She hustle switches into the...
Well, give us a description first of Peach doing her around and then the tag off.
So, Peach at first is keeping up with the pack, and then folks start to distribute themselves. She's not far behind the leaders, but by the time she is reaching the place where Araya is waiting, she's more shuffling than jumping. And as she removes the potato sack from around her ankles, she goes, "Don't do that after hiking up a mountain."
Tag with Araya. Araya, describe to us your technique, if you would, please.
She's going to do the slow and steady, and they're like 3rd place, but she's keeping her eyes and her focus on the person in front of them, hopefully going to, with determination and ignoring how much jumping again and again and again and again is exhausting. She's going to keep, like, the marathon pace, the steady. And then when if she's so lucky to come close to passing somebody, she does so with like a burst of speed to dishearten them.
Nice. All right, we'll give it a roll. So far, oh no. Are you by any chance inspired?
I am inspired.
You're doing so bad at this race.
No. But I feel that she's good at concentrating through pain.
Okay, that gets you up to a 9, in fact. Yeah.
All right, that's something.
Yeah, with Araya giving a side glance and then quickly speeding up to hop past one of the other children who just, their face turns and their mouth turns down and their eyes begin to glisten and they just stop hopping and they begin to cry as Araya passes them by. Araya has bumped you guys up into 2nd place.
I can't breathe.
The winner's spirit.
It's even a small child crying, but also it's a 14-year-old doing a sack race.
Oh,
High school
man.
ass kids doing a sack race. This is
Potato sack just full of skirts. Like,
It's just so much fabric going on.
as you make your way around the bend, you have to do 2 loops. Some of the other children are just huffing and puffing at that point. But you manage to make your way around. Describe to us as you do the tag off to Casey.
You see that, like, her face is all concentration as she's like, hop, hop. Every hop is kind of the same hop. They're predictable and expected, but she's just like, she comes to a stop right in front of you and like, shoo, off the potato sack to hand off to you. Get him! You got this!
Casey gives her a stern nod. Slips sack on. Looks over at the other people kind of ahead of him. And just yells, "Spiders! There's spiders in the sacks! There's spiders in the sacks!" And then immediately starts hopping as fast as he can forward.
All right, give it a roll. A 2.
We're amazing.
Is there anything you can add to that?
Just 1d4.
All right, add D4 to that. It's going to bump that up to a 6. All right, so as you go, some of the children immediately freak out, go tumbling out of their sacks, trying to kick them off, but 2 of them focused, and they're not even afraid of spiders. They just keep hopping as fast as they can. And after a round of hopping through, your team does finish, but there's one team. It's all bunnies, nothing but bunnies.
Nothing but bunny.
Of course.
Yeah, and as they stand there across the finish line, you just see them waggling their heads back and forth, ears flopping around, just giving you guys dirty looks. Then they giggle and go hopping off.
We shouldn't have entered against bunnies.
Now, are these bunnies our age-ish? Or are these small kid bunnies?
They're small kid bunnies. They're all
Oh my God.
they're all Seyfried's family.
No, they're Cypher's age.
Well, maybe like,
Fucking
she has so
14-year-olds
many.
lost to like 10-year-old rabbits.
Well, maybe one 10-year-old, one 11-year-old, one 12-year-old. She has so many.
It's kind of an array. Yeah.
Honestly, if they hadn't won, something would have been wrong. I think the only person better at jumping is Kebeth.
But yeah, Basil does come over and says, "Hi, not too bad. You guys did get 3rd place. Well, yeah, the town leather worker donated some works, so here you go. And you each receive a finely crafted leather belt pouch."
Ooh.
Says, "Yeah, that's made to last." And
This is so nice.
I know everyone was getting cursed items. I've got 1 painted stone, finely crafted leather belt pouch. Like, ah.
I bet that stone will fit in that leather belt pouch.
You know, it already is.
And Basil says, "Hey, sheep riding competition, pining contest are both coming up. If you want to participate."
Finally, sheep riding, something I can get behind.
You know what? I'll give sheep riding a try, but I think I'm gonna nail the pie eating contest. I sling pies
Ooh.
on the daily. Those things are good as hell.
I'm up for either, but I don't think I'll win.
You should be up for both. Let's go.
Oh,
sheep
God.
riding's next.
Goddess.
All right. Yeah, you guys make it over to where a temporary fence has been constructed, and you see Shalati's grandfather, big minotaur, kind of gnarled horns that are cracked here and there. He's got one eye that's kind of milky looking. Towers kind of over the sheep and the children and the fence and all of you, broad-shouldered. As he approaches us. You've come for sheeps. You will ride the sheeps?
Yes,
looking
sir.
up. Yes.
I'm not responsible for your deaths in the case of accident. If you are eaten by sheep, or fall from sheep, trampled by sheep,
Do they eat people?
which has been known to happen.
Oh, maybe I will watch.
No, you have to try it.
The rules are simple. You ride the sheep as long as you can until the sheep will destroy you and make you fall away.
I'll show you how it's done, alright?
Yeah, okay, I'll take notes.
Yeah, what all are the sheep rigged up as? Are they just
Is
like
this like a bull riding thing?
bear
bull
sheep,
riding,
or
but
do they have like do they have like saddles?
They're extra fluffy. They're like so they haven't been sheared, so they're just round. They're so round. Yeah, this is this sheep that you will ride. It is called savagery.
Alright. I'll call him Sav for short.
It's fair. Once you are situated upon the sheep, this will begin. A contest of wills between you and sheep.
Like, yes, this is not my first rodeo. Yeah! And he runs up and jumps on the back of the sheep, grabs on with both hands into the fur, into the wool as hard as he can.
Give it a roll. How good are you at holding on for dear life as the sheep begins to kick and spin, jump, trying with all its fluffy might to dislodge you from its back?
Yeah, Casey had fire in his eyes when he ran up and jumped on the sheep. It's not the first time that he's done this with livestock. And yeah, he leaps on with a yell.
Ho, 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 ho. Savagery strikes again! Casey is hurled from the back of Savagery, tumbling into the grass.
What is going on with the dice? Is this broken? Is Roll20 broken?
We're getting these out of the way for the upcoming battle.
It's a
Yeah, no,
natural
it's-
one plus a 1.
It's because we're kids. We haven't grown into our characters yet. Yeah, it's just showing our growth.
You did good. Nothing is broken. Either of you, nice young, would you like to break?
Yeah, I'll
break-
give it a try. Sure,
break-
sure.
Okay. I wish you luck and to break a neck.
Not breaking. I'll help.
Peach would do her best to climb on the sheep, using whatever assistance is there. I think it will take her several tries.
There's
and
no
then
assistance at all. It's you and a sheep.
me and a sheep. Yeah, after a few false starts where Peach attempts to hoist herself up, sort of side saddle, she eventually pulls herself up onto her stomach and gracefully straddles the sheep, ready for sheep riding.
All right. You've climbed aboard, gripping your hands into the fluffy wool. Give it a roll to see.
Roll a d20 and then
D20 and add a D4, D6, or nothing, depending how good at this you might be.
apparently amazing.
Wow. Yeah, this is so easy compared to carrying a full tray of drinks and muffins and pies through a crowded room. Savagery kicks and bucks and spins as fast as he can, but he's no match. No match for Peach. Before long, Savagery The fire leaves his eyes and slows down. You've won. You've mastered the savage sheep. Black says, "No, ho, ho, ho! This is good. This is good."
Christopher, I'm crying.
This is perfect.
He approaches, reaches to his belt, produces a pair of perfect silver shears. Offers them to you. Here's your prize for survival.
Well, the shears? Thank you. She puts it in her leather belt pouch and gives Savagery the sheep a pat on the nose.
Savagery snorts and stares you down.
Oh, I stare him right back. I rolled a 19, kid.
So
Mind over
makes
sheep.
eye contact first. Now since each of you is still living, there's pie, but there's competitive pie.
Araya, did you not want to ride the sheep?
Go yet.
I think the sheep is defeated, and that he's gonna put me on a fresh sheep. I'm not gonna get the sheep that just lost. I'm gonna get the one that's fresh and hasn't.
There's a fresh sheep. It's called Dead Maker.
No.
Well, this one won't be upset because Casey was on it.
Okay, how did you do it, Peach?
I climbed aboard the sheep, and then
Yes.
I realized it wasn't as hard as Casey made it look. I'm so sorry. I watched you and did the opposite.
I was under the impression you did not want to ride sheep. I'm mistaken in this. You will ride it.
Yes. Yeah. No. I will give it a shot. She's gonna crawl up on the sheep, and very awkwardly, not like it's a horse, but like arms around its neck, legs around its middle, like straight up like koala style, adhere herself to the sheep as best as possible. Okay. I think yes. I'm ready.
All right, give it a roll as the sheep begins to jump and spin.
Not like flung off the sheep, but lasts a mere 1 second, probably.
Is that 7-year roll?
Yeah, that's my roll, yep.
Yeah, as the sheep spins faster and then faster and then faster and faster and faster and faster, there's just a tumble of skirts just hurled through the air, flipping end over end.
Ugh. Wind knocked out of her a bit, landing on her butt. Ugh.
Nah, you survived. It's good. Deathmaker's a worthy challenge.
Deathmaker is good. Deathmaker. Effective. Good sheep. She sort of like half bent in the middle, kind of like makes her way out of the corral. Bye.
To have died would have been honorable. Enjoy your pie.
She follows you, but like still bent over. Hand on her butt. I got this. It'll wear off in a second, I promise. I've never once fallen off of a sheep, but I've never tried.
Araya, are you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Did you make
It's
it
just-
angry?
I think the skirts scared it more than confused it.
Peach looks down at her own voluminous skirts.
Deathmaker doesn't like skirts. Casey, you should have written Deathmaker. Deathmaker's definitely a boy sheep, a boy favoring sheep. I should have written
Savagery.
Savagery. Thank you. Savagery. Next time I'm just gonna bribe sheep with hay before the competition and make friends.
Not a bad plan.
Yes, I will become the sheep friend, and then they can't book me.
You guys presumably make your way over to the pie eating contest?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, yeah. that leads you kind of more to the heart of town, and you're passing through all the festival decorations and the banners that are strewn between the buildings. You hear harp music of Shirley, Salandra's mother, playing, and the people running about, a couple little bunnies, some of them who'd beaten you in the sack race competition, just kind of give you a little wink as they hop by. You reach the tables, and you can see the many variety of spice pies donated from the Wanderlust Tavern. See, Miranda's nearby, kind of leaning against one of the buildings. She sees Peach and says, "Hey, darling."
Hi, Mom. Am I allowed to participate in the pie contest, or do I gotta sit out because I made part of them?
No, I think it'd be perfectly fine, and especially nice if you win, and then we keep the winnings in the household. You'll have fun. And you see as you approach the table, the normal host for this would have been, would have probably been one of the staff from the Wanderlust, either you or Miranda. Miranda seems to be taking a break, so it looks as though she's recruited Fennel to host the contest, and he's, "Oh, hey guys."
Peach, how spicy are these pies?
Spicy?
Yeah, like
I enjoy them, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Rhea, I didn't really enjoy the fare we had at the temple. So might be for a different sort of palate. But give it a try. You don't have to win, just enjoy lunch too.
oh, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah,
Free pie.
exactly.
But if you want to win, have you ever seen a duck eat?
Yes. I don't have a beak though. I mean, there's not a lot of place.
I've never seen a duck eat. What is this? What is this line of questioning?
They sort of wiggle their whole face.
They don't chew, they just swallow it whole.
I recommend you chew these pies. I made some of these pies. They are not 100% swallowable whole.
Casey, you're gonna swallow it whole?
Well, I mean, it's a eating competition, right? You want to eat it as fast as possible.
Yeah, basically the rules are you just keep eating pies until everybody is thrown up.
What?
Or they quit. They can quit. You can stop before you throw up, but most people that are either professionals, they'll go until.
People can earn money eating? She like eyeballs the lineup of anybody sitting down for pie.
Not like here, Araya. And it ain't something you can do at the Wanderlust per regular.
Fair, that makes sense. She takes up an end seat and looks for a fork and knife.
Fennel looks at each of you and he says, hey, this isn't part of the competition, but I noticed sometimes you guys go hang out at the old ruins. Could I hang out with you guys sometime, maybe?
Remind us how old Fennel is.
Fennel's a few years younger than you guys.
So like 12?
He's like 14. No. Oh, sorry. You were 14 now, so he's like 10.
That's something when you're 13 or older. But yeah, once you're a little bit older, you can join up around the same time. What Ash should?
Okay.
Yeah. Be happy to have you.
Yeah, he keeps kind of glancing at Casey.
Yeah, don't worry. They're already ruins. Not gonna get any worse.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the rules. Okay, so you gotta stay in your chair. Okay. And you eat the pies, and we'll keep putting pies on the table. You just keep eating them. But if you leave your chair, or if you don't like eat for more than like 10 seconds, and one of the judges sees you, and you're out, If you stop, you can stop anytime you want. But if you throw up, you're out. You can drink. There's cider, but don't do it. It just fills you up.
Oh.
All right, you guys ready?
Fennel, I'd like some water instead of cider, please.
I wasn't sponsored. Nobody. I mean, I don't. We just. Your mom
I'm sure you can just grab me a glass of water just real quick, please.
Oh. Okay. Just run out.
Peach turns to Araya, blocking Casey out, and says, "Drink the water, not the spice cider."
Smart tactics, right? Tactics.
Wait a minute. I literally lagged when that happened, and I did not hear what you said. What the heck?
Perfect. It knew.
That's amazing.
All right,
Casey's eyes squint a little bit at the two of you.
A moment later, 10-year-old Fennel comes running back with a big mug in his hand, water just splashing off the sides of it. Lays down on the table in front of Peach. Oh, there you go.
Well, thank you, Fennel. You're a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She puts it between her and Araya and kind of like sides Araya. Feel free to have a sip if you need one.
Well, thank you. Be prepared to lose all of your water from spiciness.
Peach is a very good friend. I don't want you to die of the spice.
All right, on your mark. Get set. All right, so eat pies.
No.
Let's begin to eat. All right, you're gonna be rolling a test of your characters. As you begin eating, this spice pie is delicious. Still hot, fresh from the ovens. It's easy to get through the first quarter of a pie or so, but then you start realizing it's so rich, so much butter, and this is going to start being a test of your character's constitution. How much food could they keep down before they just can't take any more in a roll for your competition? Whoa.
Oh no!
Ready to get wrong?
Peach talks such a big game.
Ooh.
Araya looks flushed from eating the pie. It's so much flavor, but she just slow and steady, methodical. Hum. But drinks copious amounts of water because she's just like blushing.
Peach ends up taking a few bites, finishing one pie, and then pushing her the remainder of the pitcher water fully toward Araya and say, "You know what? I've already won a couple prizes." But as she's leaving the table gracefully, she kind of like has her hand on her chest and she's coughing a bit and looking for another water.
Oh no!
Peach drops out.
Casey, as you're eating, you realize, was it the tea that Araya gave you? Was it the snacks by the poolside?
Sabotage!
Something doesn't feel right.
Your body is too cleansed.
I feel like I'm gonna pie.
Alright, Casey's slowing down, but the competition goes on. Araya, you feel like these pies are delicious. You could eat more pie, perhaps.
I think I could actually have one more pie.
Alright. Give it a roll. Alright, two of the other contestants. They start to slow down. One of them puts his hand over his mouth. Right, gets up and runs. starts running away, leaving
Oh,
just
no.
Araya and one other contestant as you look over.
Come on, Araya.
I know, like Peach is cheering
She's
for
really-
Araya.
She's got her mouth full of pie, like 2 chipmunk cheeks, and like gives you a thumbs up. Good boy.
Yeah, as you look down the table, people hands on bellies, people looking a little green in the face. You see your true competition. It's Bryony, the youngest. Wait, no, she would be maybe not even born yet. It's
Oh my God,
An
the pregnant mom.
No, perfect. It's Yev. It's young Yev.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, the Goliath sibling of Shalati.
But he's like a wee bean at the moment, even though he's Goliath.
He's a kid, but he's taller than you.
Oh.
Already, even at 10, kind of broader than shoulders, throwing hay bales around all day, I guess. You see
She gives him a mouthful thumbs up too. She's like,
He's got a determined expression on his face. Takes all her pie. Shove it in his mouth.
She's shoveling it in too.
Give it a roll. Oh, 15 on the die from you and a 6 from Yev. You see his eyes get wide. No. Turns away from the table. And there's a thunderous applause that goes across all the people gathered. People cheering. And you see Miranda Pine makes her way over.
Araya dutifully finishes the pie she was on with like a fork and knife, leaving no bite behind. Waste not, want not.
Miranda, hand on her shoulder, says, well, gosh, that's one of the best performances I've ever seen. Pete, your friend here is just, wow, fantastic.
I was hungry today. Yes. Your pies are so good. I bet you Peach made this one.
Oh, very well, ma'am. She does just such a good job. Well, I'll tell you what. You've done such a good job. You've won the competition. And, well, here you go. She kind of reaches into her pouch and pulls out some stationery. A very nice calligraphy on it. And she offers it to you and says, this is good for the whole year. You can stay at the Wanderlust Tavern as much as you please. Now, the drinks and the food, well, we'll talk about that, but yeah, you're a welcome honored guest of the Wanderlust.
Yay! She kind of like flashes it at Peach, like waving it like a flag. Look it!
You can come whenever you want with that.
She sort of like hugs Miranda and then runs down to Peach. I ate so many pies! I never eat pies!
That's my favorite session of D&D I've ever played.
But it's only then that you begin to hear a light murmur going through the people in the town.
Uh-oh.
It starts low, it starts to build. First it's a cry, and then building of voices. You see people starting to run. You see eyes going wide. People rising from their seats, turning in the direction of the hearth. You see somebody running your way. They scream, "Pudding! Pudding!" Miranda says, "Look at that! Looks like the donation of this year's donation from looks like the dry iron pub. Fresh. Looks like banana pudding is available for everybody who might be interested. Free pudding over by the hearth."
The only reason the monster is named Pudding was for this switcheroo moment.
I would imagine us all not being traumatized join in running and yelling, "Pudding!"
Yeah, Pudding!
Yeah.
So, it's with great glee, the children and the young people run through the towns, hearts delighted, screaming, "Pudding!" Top of their lungs. It's fresh banana and caramel. Available for all.
But now we have advantage against puddings, right? The three of us, because we've defeated this pudding.
Maybe true. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this Harvest Festival episode.
This
Yes.
is amazing. This is so much fun and great. Thank you guys so much. This was a great end to the weekend. / beginning to the weekend. Oh my god, it's only Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. That was nice.
Everybody say cheese.
What do we do?
As I look the most tired right now.
No, y'all look great.
This is mom face.
Good job, guys.
I like that the person least likely to eat pie, one pie.
I love
Yeah,
that
that
as
was
a turn.
Now she's just gonna have this habit of sneaking, like, spices up to the temple.
I love that her
Cinnamon.
secret shame is like that she likes coriander.
Pies hidden all over your room.
Yeah, she's got like her stash.
Like stash of spice packets. She like brings
Yeah.
her like sad little sandwiches back to her room and
She's
just
got-
like flavors them.
Like hot sauce in her purse.
Extra ramen noodle spice packs.
Exactly, yes.
That's Thanksgiving. Look at that food. Look at that food. Oh.
What?
Well, happy Harvest Festival.
Happy
Thank
Harvest
you.
Festival.
Can we assume that our characters have the items that they were won at Harvest Festival? Hooray.
You're gonna stab something with big ol' silver shears, aren't you?
At least I have something like that now.
Dude, if there's silver.
I was like, Peach would not hang on to this longsword, but even as she was giving it to Sal, I'm like, fuck, I do not have a weapon.